Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this video we are looking at the DC Collectibles Batman Animated Series Batman figure, which is a figure I've been waiting for a very long time. I did like the New Adventures figure. It had some flaws, and I was really hoping they would address some of those with this figure, and we're going to find out if they did today. But first, we're going to give him a height measurement and look at the accessories. So he stands at roughly 6.5 inches to the top of his ears, which makes him roughly 17 centimeters, and you're probably wanting me to do a comparison with the other Batman figure. I'm going to do a comparison of all the figures once we get a bunch of them going, so I'm going to save that for that video. Let's look at the accessories. First thing we get are these little pamphlets, handouts, basically instruction sheets for the stand, and like a little brochure for the other figure. So we don't need to look at that. We get this really cool display stand, which has the drawing, the line work for Batman, and it tells you which version he is. So it's from the Adventures, or the Batman Animated Series. I should not say the wrong thing. So that's kind of cool. And of course, with that stand, you get the acrylic upright piece, which is dandy. We don't really need that probably, but we get it. As far as other accessories go, we get the Batarang, which is pretty basic, but that's how it looked in the show, so that's fine. We get a Grapnel Gun hand, which is fine. It looks nice. We can get a little closer so you can see that. That's permanently in there. And then you also get the Grapnel Gun by itself. I'm not sure why we need that, but we do. So that's fine. This will probably be the one I use. I'm not sure how that's going to be applicable, but that's okay. Extras, good. Maybe they're swappable? Nope, doesn't feel like it. So we get those. Then we also get 4 other hands in addition to the fist hands that are on the figure. We get a gripping hand like this for both sides. Let's see if I can find that. So we get those, which look like they're pretty nice. And then we get these, which are the Batarang hands. So that's a pretty good spread of accessories. I'm pretty pleased with that. Don't really need more. I think that's a good amount. And now let's look at the figure, because we got a decent batch of accessories, so that's always a good thing. But the figure is what's going to make or break whether or not you want to buy the figure. First impressions, this thing looks really, really good. The coloring is great. He's got that slightly slatish color to the gray part. It's not solid, bright gray like the other Batman. The yellow is a nice, vibrant, kind of like a marigold or a goldenrod yellow, so that's really good. And the chest emblem is nice and clean. If we get in a little closer on that, you'll be able to see it's actually embossed. So that's a really nice touch. It looks really, really good. I'm super happy about that. You'll also notice that the inside of his cape is blue rather than black, which is a really good thing because that was one of the key things that made this Batman what he was. And it looks really good. The paintwork is really nice and even. I'm super pleased with that. The only other thing that we need to really talk about in terms of looks is the head, and how does the head look is kind of an important thing. So this Batman, he should technically look a little bit different. It does look really good, and it's mostly accurate, but if you look at, where'd it go? Well, we can just use this for instance. The eyes should be a little bit taller, a little bit bigger white area to make it really look like this version of Batman. In this one, it looks like he's kind of squinting, which is not obviously a huge deal. It still looks really good. It's just, it would have been slightly more instantly recognizable if his eyes were just a little bit bigger, because that's something this version of Batman was kind of known for. Still not a big deal though. Alright, so let's look at the articulation. The head can look up a little bit, down a little bit, not a whole lot. You can lean from side to side a little bit, so that'll give him some nice attitude when you're posing him. And of course you get the rotation. The shoulders are pretty stiff. Maybe I'll loosen them up right here and see if they don't break. You can rotate them around to the front as long as you pass the chest. The chest does stick out quite a bit, and you can't really bring the arms straight forward, but they're not so far out to the side that it's going to be a huge deal. I think it could be better, but it's definitely acceptable. And as far as bringing them out to the side, once you loosen them up, it feels like you're going to be able to get him out about that far, which isn't too bad. I think he should be okay for posing. It's not going to be the most articulated figure in terms of range of motion, but I think it will suffice, especially given the style of this figure. As for a bicep swivel, the only thing we get is here built into the elbow, but it is sufficient. It should be good enough. And having the elbow hinge go almost 90 degrees is really probably just fine. I mean, I'm okay with that. I don't need more than that, I think. And I just want to note, as I'm reviewing this, I'm kind of not looking at it in my hand, I'm looking at it through the screen on the camera, and every once in a while, my brain automatically jumps to, like, thinking it's the cartoon. Obviously, I know it's not, but that's what it looks like on camera. So you guys are going to, once you get the figure in hand, you'll be able to kind of get that feeling from it. So that's a really good thing to note. As far as the rest of the articulation on the arm, no forearm swivel. You don't really need that, though. We do get a wrist swivel because the hands all peg in, and you get a hinge. Be really careful with those, but you do get that articulation. You get a waist swivel, so that's really good. It's a little stiff on mine again, but that's okay. It's not so stiff that it's a problem. And then for the hips, we can bring the legs almost all the way forward. We do have some weird lines in there from the articulation, but that's okay. That's definitely better than having those peg holes in the hips. That's not a good thing. They do go pretty far back. And then now it's a little bit loose now that I finally broke it free, but that's okay. It's not super loose. And as far as going out to the side, still looks a little awkward. I think they could probably work on that joint a little bit. But it definitely has the range of motion, so that's a good thing. The only thing we're really missing in the legs is a thigh swivel, and that would really help in posing this guy. As far as the knee joint, it's a little bit better than we've seen, but it's still not great. It's almost a 90-degree bend, though, so that's all right. As far as the ankles go, we get, as far as I can tell, no boot swivel. It doesn't feel like that's a separate piece, and I can't get it to move. But the ankles, let's hope they don't break like the old one. They go all the way back and all the way forward, and we have an ankle rocker. So you should be able to pose this guy with pretty much no hesitation, no worries, no troubles, and it should be a good experience for you. This is, in my opinion, a really, really good figure. It's not perfect. They seldom are, but this one, given the look of it and the style, there's very few things that they could have done, or there are very few things they could have done to make it better. So I'm super happy with it, and I think you guys will be too. I recommend it 100%. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can see my upcoming figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.